right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the second ever pregame stream that the Ravens are doing. I see Abdi's in the chat. What's going on, Abdi? This is going to be a lot of fun. But before we get into anything, Joshua, how have you been? Haven't recorded anything I think since last Sunday. So what's going on with you? How you doing?
Yeah, absolutely. What's going on, Ravens family? I'm doing pretty good. Work week. Knocking out these hours, man, and ready for tonight, man. So let's get to it.
Absolutely. So if this is going to be your first time ever joining the stream, if you've never been in one before, how we do it, we stream for 1 hour before the game. So we're going to stop streaming at 7 p.m. Not going to be streaming during the game. I know some other people are going to be streaming, so if you want to go check them out, absolutely go for it. Then we'll start streaming after the game. We have a lot of fun. We recap it, analyze all the things, but before the game, we answer any questions that any of you have, about the game, players to watch, matchups to look out for, all those types of just predictions in general. It's going to be a lot of fun. The goal is to do this, throughout the regular season as well, but this is only the second time we're ever doing it. Last week, it was a ton of fun, but we're just here to have a good time. We'll wait for a little bit more people to get in here, but if any of you guys have any questions, absolutely feel free to ask. See some guys in the chat. We've got it looks really weird when we put up the banner, so I'm shifting it to look like that. What's going on, Nana? Mod Don C. How you doing, Don? And then we also got Benjamin in here. How you doing, Benjamin? Man, this is going to be crazy. I don't know if any of you have seen it, but Good Morning Football did kind of a segment on the Ravens preseason record and how they're attempting to tie the myth that is Vince Lombardi's Packers going 19 consecutive wins in the preseason. It's a myth that it's questionable whether or not it actually happened, but reportedly the Ravens are attempting to tie the NFL record for preseason victories consecutively. What do you think about that, Joshua? Is that the most – they asked it on the show, but they were like, is that the most impressive feat that isn't talked about whatsoever from the Ravens?
I guess. I mean, outside of us, always getting an undrafted guy and they end up being a star for us, I would say, yeah, we'll take the little wins, but at the end of the day, we're more worried about the ultimate goal, the ultimate victory, that Lombardi. But I definitely take that little win.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I mean, it just seems like the Ravens have always just been very good in the preseason, draft really well. The depth that the Ravens have always had is incredible. They're very good at getting their team situated early. Yeah. And that's something that's very beneficial. A lot of teams, they kind of struggle. They mix a lot of things around. The Ravens know what their plan is, and they execute that plan all the time. Justin G, what's going on? I'm assuming he said Flock family. The G and the F are next to each other on the keyboard. But if you didn't and you said Glock family, how you doing, Glock fam? We got the legend, the first ever moderator of the channel. We got Paul in the chat. We got Paul and Don C. Look at that. Both mods in the chat. Abdi asks, do we have a chance of getting Michael Thomas? I really don't think so. Just he makes a ton of money. I mean, it's just way too much money. I love Michael Thomas. I think Michael Thomas is a stud, and he's very underrated. But I don't know. It's almost impossible for us to get him.
That's almost a move on Madden with no cap salary right now. I mean,
yeah,
we just gotta be smart about the guys that we bring in and smart with our money.
Absolutely. We can't just be trying to put ourselves in bad situations. What's going on, King Ivo? Benjamin's definitely right when he says it's talking about the preseason wins. That's just the Ravens just shows why they're always in the hunt. Whenever something changes, they lose a player, they seem to always still be able to contribute. And I think a lot of people praise the Patriots for doing that over Bill Belichick's tenure, but the Ravens are right behind them and being able to just plug and play a lot of guys and have it work out. Good question here. This is from Eddie Blaze. Do you think we could end up with 7 DBs and 7 wide receivers after final roster cuts? And I'm assuming by DB, he's meaning just cornerbacks, not safeties included. So Joshua, why don't you go first? What what are you thinking? 7 DBs and 7 wide receivers?
I don't see the 7 wide receivers for the simple fact of the style of offense that we ran. We run. Now, if we was more on a different style of pace, it works.
Sorry, this works. It worked. Normally, it used to not work. It used to be all offset and you looked really weird. We can do this. Sweet. This looks way better.
Now, I feel like with the style of offense we run, I don't feel like it's going to work with having 7 wide receivers right now. But 7 DBs, some of our guys can be a little bit of injury prone. We play against a lot of pass heavy teams. They like to throw the ball, and we need that health at the cornerback position. So I definitely see us having 7 DBs versus 7 wide receivers.
Yeah, for me, I actually think that there is a chance that the Ravens do start the season off with 7-7 because unless the Ravens were to IR Rashad Bateman, which I don't expect them to do, but I expect Bateman to be there. So maybe a guy is kept on just to be there until Rashad Bateman's able to come back, so we have that depth. And then in terms of the DB spots, I know a lot of people have been talking about it, but Anthony Averett possibly getting traded. If he's there at the beginning of the season, he could be dealt, and he may make the final roster, but not really play a lot if we do end up dealing him and allow a guy like Chris Westry to still sneak onto the roster. But it depends on what the Ravens list. So I think it actually is a possibility for these guys. I do think that I'm going to expect that the Ravens do IR some of the wide receivers that are injured a little bit. The Miles Boykin if he's not able to come back, the Deion Kane, all that stuff. How you doing, AJ? What's going on, man? We also see like just the Ravens and their wide receivers. They've always liked to keep a few, but they're so banged up that they gotta have that depth. And so I think that 7 wide receivers is a possibility. And hopefully there's 7 good wide receivers. But
I was about to say, now with us having 7 wide receivers, okay, I'll put it like this. I'll make a comparison. Last year, I guess we could say we had one of the best secondaries in Ravens history. Now, and even though we had the best secondary in Ravens history, also translates to the field, we did have a lot of injuries. Do you feel like that can transition over to the offense with us having maybe one of the best wide receiving cores, even though we're a little banged up? I'm just looking at some similarities right now because I think it's crazy right now.
Yeah, we're banged up, but there's still guys that can produce. Sammy Watkins. I really hope we get to see Sammy and Lamar at some point this preseason. I think they will play together. I don't know if it'll be this week or next week, but I think they will play 1 or 2 drives together. But there's a lot of interesting questions that we see in here, but I want to answer this one. This one's very interesting. Benjamin Turek says, Chris Westry is better than Anthony Averett. Does anyone else agree? Joshua, what do you think?
You know what? I'm going to say yeah. 6'4", he's a big body. He can break up the pass. He can stick with the guy. He can stick with his the wide receivers. So I actually like him. He does have good recovery speed. So one thing he has over Averett, in my opinion, is when the ball is up and if he's next to the wide receiver, he does have the ability to break up that pass.
That's true. For me, I'm not a big fan of Anthony Averett. I know he's so close, but if I had to, the only comparison I can make with Anthony Averett is not an NFL player, but it's Paul George. Okay.
Okay.
Paul George is known as a good defender in the NBA, but every time the game is on the line, he gets his hand in the guy's face. It seems like the guy always hits the shot no matter what. Like everybody hits game winners on Paul George. It's just known in the NBA. Anthony Averett plays good coverage. He's contesting them. And he gets mossed every single time. He never gets the ball out, it seems like. Yeah. Last game, I think he was mossed 3 or 4 times. People just caught passes right over his head.
It was like a big body wide receiver. I think the wide receiver was like 6'3". It was the same wide receiver, matter of fact.
I think Lil Jordan Humphreys did it at one point. The touchdown that they had in the end zone, the guy caught it over him. Like, it's just one of those things where Chris Westry just has the athleticism, and he's shown that he's willing to make a play. If you guys remember, Geno Stone's second interception came off of Chris Westry getting a swat on the ball to another defender. I'd rather see that like Anthony Averett. Yeah, he's playing good coverage, but it seems like he never actually is able to make the play. And I like if he's able to take that next step. But we've been saying that for almost, this may be the third season we've been saying, man, if you can just finally start breaking up those passes. We saw it last year. He just doesn't break them up. He's got good coverage. He's able to get the tackle after they catch it, but it seems like they always catch it against Anthony Averett, and it's really tough. This is interesting. Raven Ron kind of gives his Ravens cornerback group. I'm going to make I'm pretty sure it's after Marlon and Marcus Peters, but Tavon Young, I wouldn't even consider Tavon Young in the secondary rankings because he is a slot cornerback. So I wouldn't see him, just ranking them all. It doesn't matter. Tavon Young is not considered. So, behind Marlon and Marcus, I think it should be Jimmy and Westry. And that's what we saw last week. If you guys were watching, Westry came in right when Marlon and Marcus stepped off the field. He was in right away. And he played a good chunk of the game, as kind of that number one corner that the Ravens had. So I would say Jimmy, then Westry, and then Averett, but like
we don't have a real outside corner.
It's just, I don't know. I'm not. Yeah, I think
it's like Tavon Young and Sean Wade are, nickels.
Yeah, they're in the slot, so it's like that. I think we'll keep both of those guys, and then I don't know. But this is an interesting point from Dawson Bulick saying, I think the Ravens are hyping up Averett so they can trade him because they are high on Westry. I would hope so. I'm really high on Westry.
You can package him up with the kicker.
Get a first-round pick right there. Jake Verity, I think is his name. That's the question. How well does Jake Verity play tonight?
I feel like he's gonna keep on stacking. One thing they can do is get some special teamers. They can get some kickers. I give John Harbaugh that. As being a players coach, he definitely he can get a kicker.
Yeah, the Ravens have been known to trade preseason studs, and if the kicker's able to do it, he could absolutely be on the move. And another guy, here's an interesting thought. People in the chat absolutely let me know what you guys think about this. What are the odds that the Ravens trade Tyson Williams?
Mccrary, he was thinking the same thing I was thinking. Dude is really, even though he had that whole half, not whole half, that quarter alone, he just shows he can be, a premier back, somewhere like maybe Chicago, help Phillips out, or even I want to say, does Miami really need a quarter running back, or maybe even
Miami has a core of 3 guys behind Ballage, I want to say. But there's definitely teams that are in need of running backs. I hate to say it, but
honestly, if I can keep, I would keep Nate Mccrary here, and I'll give up Williams.
Benjamin's on the same wavelength. But one thing, Patrick Silverman brings up Tariq Cohen. Tariq Cohen, I believe they lost their slot wide receiver in Chicago this year. There's a very good chance Tariq Cohen is lining up in the slot a lot more than he does in the backfield. But 49ers have Mostert, and then they drafted the running back out of Ohio State, Trey Sermon. So they're not in need of a guy, but the Rams is interesting. I like the Rams. The Rams lost Cam Akers. They could definitely do with a running back. They're definitely a team that could be using him. So if he's able to ball out, then that's what the Ravens can do. Because let's say both Mccrary and Tyson Williams both ball out this week. I think Tyson Williams has more trade value. Send him over.
He's the man that's definitely been talked about. If you all been following the Ravens Twitter or social medias. That's the guy that you've been talking about, like all practice against Carolina.
Yeah, I mean that's the man. And let's see this. This is interesting. Sammy and Lamar might be the fastest duo in the NFL if healthy. I'm going to disagree. I still think, I know AJ is a Chiefs fan. I still think it's Hill and Hardman. I mean that speed is ridiculous. But they're up there. They're up there. But is Sammy even the fastest wide receiver on the Ravens?
No, come on now.
I think top speed. Is it Hollywood or is it Devin?
Devin will be like, I think Devin might be neck and neck with Hollywood.
They both were like, Hollywood was said to have, he's like a 4.32 guy. Duvernay was a 4.3 guy, and he ran like a 10.3 or a 10.4 in the 100-yard dash at like junior year of high school. That dude was burning, like faster than what DK Metcalf ran last year, ran in the practice. So crazy speed. But there's a good question back here. I'm going to go up for it. This one's from Raven Ron. If Sean Wade has an interception this week, does it make him a lock for the 53-man roster, Joshua?
I don't think so. I don't think I feel like, he definitely, I feel like he's definitely gonna make the 53-man roster, period. But him getting an interception is not gonna make or break him. Him showing what he can do consistently in coverage is what's gonna make or break him. Because honestly, yes, Tavon Young is good for right now, but the real question is, how long will we have Tavon for this season?
Yeah. And for me, I need to make something clear. Preseason play isn't everything. I saw somebody talk about here. Raven Ron says if James Prochet doesn't have a good game, he's cut. Preseason isn't everything. Preseason, they get to see whether or not they're executing what they want to see, but a lot of times people put their players in difficult positions to see how they're able to perform in those difficult situations. So he doesn't need an interception, and if he gets an interception, it could be a bad interception. Maybe he messes up on the play, but the quarterback makes a bad throw. Like I talked about Geno Stone's interceptions last week. They were, it wasn't like he was baiting the quarterback, doing something crazy. He was just a guy in the right spot at the right time, and the balls were either one was swatted by Chris Westry into his arms, and the other was a terrible throw from Taysom Hill that went right into his arms. And he made the plays, but it's one thing to just be thrown an interception, and it's another to force an interception where the quarterback makes a good throw and you're able to just bait him and take the ball away. And that's a big difference. So if he's able to come out and he clamps up, the slot receiver, tracks him all the way across the field on a corner, on a drag route, and he's able to pick it off diving, maybe gets a nice swat, then it's like, okay, that was a great play. But if he's in the slot and he's trailing the guy by 3 steps, quarterback underthrows it and he undercuts it, that's not something that I'm looking at like, oh my God, he's amazing. It's like, you kind of got bailed out. That was a bad throw. And that's something that we need to analyze, because that's the benefit of preseason, is that it's not about the win. Like, I would much rather see Lamar Jackson, or, maybe Lamar doesn't play, but I'd much rather see Tyler Huntley put a ball on a dime 50 yards down the field, hit Devin Duvernay in the chest, and he drop it, than to see him throw up a terrible throw that is caught and then is scoring a touchdown. I'd rather see the thing that's more consistent. So that's the rough part for me, is it's not about the win. Like in the regular season, it's like, all that matters is the scoreboard. In the preseason, the scoreboard doesn't matter at all. It's how well they played, and individually, how well did they do? And I care more about how well they did than if the Ravens won. Obviously, winning is nice. You want to win. But I'd rather see the Ravens all play very, very well than for them to play really badly and somehow get a win. I'd rather see the players play well. But
yeah, absolutely.
Here's a question from Dawson Bulick. Sorry, I clicked on the wrong one. Sorry, this is from Nick Quast saying, when can Hollywood play? Hollywood can probably play next week, I would assume. However, I don't even know if he's going to play. It's not. He'll definitely be ready for week 1. It's just whether or not the Ravens want to take that risk. he's kind of injury prone. He's played before. He has chemistry. The Ravens know what he's all about. So I don't think they're going to rush him back whatsoever. I don't think it's necessary to rush him back because it's not like it's a must-win game. If this week, if the Ravens were in a playoff game, he may play. Like, he may be ready to play if it was a playoff game and they needed him. But we don't need him. It's just a preseason game. So I don't know. Do you think they should play him?
Listen, anybody that's going to be a starter, in my opinion, right now, doesn't really need to play. Just off the simple fact that we have a 17-game season. Week one is almost, if you want to be real about it, week one against the Raiders is almost like a preseason game. I'm not going to say it's a cakewalk, but that is a get the rust off. Hey, it's time to go to work type of game. I feel like they're definitely going to do what they're going to do what they have to do, and I feel like that week one W is going to get everybody in high gear motion. So why put them out there right now with a whole bunch of other guys that's really trying to earn a spot on the team right now? I think I'm good on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's a really good question. This is from Tadeo. Do you think it's is it too early to give up on Tyree Phillips? I could not read that question, but
his best play was in the inside, as an offensive guard. I mean, honestly, I'll give it to the Ravens organization, the line coach. We know how to produce some dominant rush when it comes to offensive line, defensive line, and, guys like that. But at the end of the day, you still had to play to some of these guys' strength. Tyree Phillips is better on the interior. So, keep on trying to force him to be a guy on the outside of tackle is not the best option. Right now, I feel like we need to, continue playing these guys the best that we can possible. Continue to get those reps as we continue getting those reps, let those guys stack up those days. And then when it comes time, those cuts and things of that nature, let's see who we possibly could pick up.
Absolutely. And one thing I want to say just really quickly, but nothing out there. If you guys didn't know, on the videos recently, I started been doing, if you guys are in Ravens trivia and stuff like that, at the end of videos, I do give out Ravens trivia questions if you didn't know. So if you guys stick around to the end of videos, or I guess you could just fast forward to the end and do that, but you could just watch the video. There are Ravens trivia stuff. So if you ever see stuff in the comments that makes like no sense and is like not about what it's talking about, it's because it's probably a trivia answer. So that's just kind of a heads up if anybody's watching a video at some point and they're like very confused by the comment section. But here's a great question from Benjamin. Who do you think will have the biggest game with the wide receivers this week?
You can go ahead. You can go first, McConnell.
I think it's going to be Tylan Wallace. I think that's the biggest guy because he flashed. I know he didn't have the stats that showed that he flashed, but he really flashed in that first game against the Saints. That catch on the sideline against the Saints was unbelievable. And I think that he's going to be given some opportunities this game to show off those hands and show off his athleticism. I really think that they may give him a couple of jump balls and really try and see what he's all about, because he was known as the best contested catch maker in college football. And the Ravens really weren't testing that last week. But this week, I think, we have Tyler Huntley, to start the game. So that's, that helps because Trace McSorley struggles with poor offensive line play. He just isn't athletic enough to escape the pocket. We'd absolutely see a couple of plays where, Tyler Huntley rolls out, Tylan Wallace, Tyler and Tylan rolls out, throws it across the field to him to go up and make a big catch. And I think he's going to get some big catches. But who do you got, Joshua?
I'm gonna say JP too. Prochet. We continue to hear about this young man. His work ethic and everything. First man in, last man out. Quarterback's not out there. He's using the machines to catch the ball. I feel like this would probably be a better game for him to show his separation, his route running. We already know that he has hands. Just gotta see him actually, create that separation. Make those big body moves with bouncing out the defenders and bringing that ball in and make moving positive. So I definitely feel like with a better quarterback play, better design plays, we might see some better play out of him this week.
Yeah, and I think that's a good answer. I mean, he's been the guy. He's been the guy working hard. He's been the guy practicing this week, and I believe Tyler Wallace didn't miss a practice this week, but all the other guys did.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see who they even start. I mean, are we going to see some random wide receivers out there at the beginning of the game? Like, who's even going to be playing? Like, we don't know yet.
Honestly,
Of
it would
course,
be good to see like Tylen or like what's his name, Benjamin Victor. Those guys get those reps in early. Honestly.
yeah. So, this is a great question from Raven Ron. Who are the top 3 players under the most pressure to perform this game? Pressure of being cut this week. That's a great question, Raven Ron. That is a great question.
Can't even say.
Let's think of some players. We don't have to give exactly 3, but who's under a lot of pressure? I think
if Miles Boykins was playing, it would be Miles.
I think it's whoever starts the left guard spot. I think that's massive. Is it if it's Big Sexy?
It's Big Sexy playing this tonight.
I hope he is. He came back to practice, so I would assume unless the Ravens come out, when the Ravens do tweet out, when we do see information from a Ravens reporter, I will go over it. But Raven Ron says Ferguson. I don't think Ferguson's a guy that will get cut, but
under a lot of pressure. That's a good one.
I'm gonna go with. I think it's just the safeties. I don't think they're gonna get cut. I think they want to see, but this is a big game for Geno, Ardarius, and Brandon Stevens. I think every preseason game is massive for them because that is a true battle of seeing who's going to be able to make that spot. Who's going to get that final spot? There maybe 2 of them make it, but that's the biggest battle. I don't think there's any players on the team that actually are going to have a shot at making the roster that could get cut after this week. There's only a couple of positions. I just think it's just an important game for the safety spot, for those free safeties because it's tough. That is a tough job to win.
And also tight ends. I mean, granted, yes, we have the weapon. We have Breland, Tomlinson, Eli Wolf, Spojank. It's a big tight end room, and fighting for that third spot, it means a lot, especially being a part of the Ravens organization because of the sets that we run. We covet our tight ends and we like to get everybody in there and we like to make everyone effective in the game. So I definitely would say, that tight end room is them guys is under a lot of pressure, So yeah, I was gonna get to him too, because he knows that everybody knows that he's capable, everybody knows he can play, but at the end of the day, he has to continue showing some play that's going to separate him from the rest of the guys. And shout out to everybody in the chat, man, and the stream. 55 of y'all in here, man. Love y'all, man. So yeah.
So one thing that I do see is that CMC and DJ Moore are in uniform. So there is a chance that they are playing. Okay. So just a chance. I know Sam Darnold will be playing. So just throwing that out there. So possibly more turnovers. Possibly more turnovers with Sam Darnold.
Who's this? Aren't their second string quarterback Will Grier?
It might be Will Grier. I think it is Will Grier.
Honestly, I'm not even gonna lie. Coming out of West Virginia, I love Will Grier. I feel like he would have been a stud in the NFL, but that didn't translate.
Let's see. I'm going to the Panthers' last game to see who played. PJ Walker and Will Grier. Forgot about PJ Walker.
How did PJ do?
PJ balled out. PJ balled out.
PJ's if y'all don't know, PJ Walker is an XFL sensation. Dude can truly ball out.
Love PJ Walker. But another guy that'll be very interesting to watch, Terrace Marshall Jr. How many times have we talked about that man, Terrace Marshall Jr.?
Not my dog, not my big dog. Not my big dog. Come on, man. Y'all
He
know
played well last week, so that'll be an interesting guy to watch. Him against Westry, that size and athleticism, that would be an amazing matchup to key in. If Anthony Averett's guarding him, it's over. It's absolutely over. Fun fact in practice, Terrace Marshall Jr. mossed Anthony Averett, so don't put Anthony Averett on Terrace Marshall Jr. It's over.
What's the chances of the Carolina Panthers cutting PJ Walker and the Ravens picking him up? Honestly,
pretty low. Unless Tyler Huntley gets hurt or something.
I wouldn't mind that though. You know,
you just want PJ Walker. That's all you want.
Something.
Raven Ron says, "I hope CMC plays gives us a better gauge of our front seven." The issue with gauging our front seven is I don't expect Calais to play. I don't really expect Justin Houston to play. I don't expect Brandon Williams to play. That is our run defense right there. Yeah. Brandon Williams and Calais Gibble are our run defense. If they don't play, it's going to be very difficult. So without them playing, it actually makes it very interesting to watch Adafe and see how the young guys are able to perform. But if CMC goes off against us, doesn't mean anything. Derrick Henry destroyed the Ravens when the Ravens played them in the regular season because there was no Brandon Williams and there was no Calais. I mean, those are our guys. So, overall, and I see this question. This question is way too much. Yes, Justice Hill I'm extremely confident that Justice Hill will make the team. He's too important for special teams. We may keep 4 running backs just because Justice Hill is so good at special teams. That's how important he is. So, yes, I think he's absolutely a lock to make the team.
Yeah, we gotta let this one go, y'all. I know how y'all feeling, but we gotta let this one go.
Just make sure to watch, everybody. And I see Justin Houston is in pads. However, I'm yet to see anything on whether or not he'll actually be playing. So, not 100% sure, but we will find out. I'm trying to pay attention to what people are saying, but not seeing any new info.
Benjamin said, you think LJ Fort and Malik Harrison is going to be the best for the start of the season? Let's cut that out. Let's cut that out right now. Let's cut that out.
It's Malik.
Come on now. LJ's smart. LJ's smart. He's a technical dude. He's a good guy, man. He's a fundamental guy. But you talking about somebody. 2 young men between PQ, Malik Harrison playing out there with reckless abandonment right now, and the game is slowed down for the both of them. So I feel like we're going to see a lot of that this season, and honestly, that's going to set the tone for us on the defense side of the ball.
Absolutely, I think it's. Just the way that he plays with Patrick Queen and LJ Ford, I feel like is a guy that we can use on special teams. I'm okay with him, being on the punt team, being on the kickoff team and stuff like that. Malik has that speed that we need to play with Patrick Queen and Adafe away just to have everybody being able to fly to the ball. Along with Tyus Bowser, that is a lot of speed. That makes it very interesting to watch. Overall, really, really hope, all that stuff is able to be seen this year. We didn't get to see a lot of Malik PQ duos last year for a significant amount of time. They played snaps together, but not a ton. But what's going on, Jeremiah? How you doing? Adi asks, will Lamar get snaps today? I think he's either going to get snaps this week or next week. Typically what the Ravens have done is they've played their starters the first quarter in the 3rd preseason game. It's typically what they've always done. Now there's not a 3rd preseason game. So are they going to do it in the final preseason game or the middle preseason game? I don't really know. I think that he'll play next week just because there is that day off or the week off, but also just give the other wide receivers a chance to get more healthy. So if they do end up playing, Mark Andrews, they do end up playing JK and Gus, and we can actually see the full offense. Whereas right now, we may not be able to see, Sammy Watkins. We may not be able to see, Hollywood. Maybe they get a little bit in, but I don't think they should play Hollywood at all. Honestly, I'm not 100% sure they should even play Lamar. I don't think it's really even worth it. So, that's kind of my take on it. But do you think they should play Lamar at all, Joshua?
Same thing I said about Hollywood, man. It applies. Don't need to put my starters out there right now. These 3 games are games to prove it games. guys that's trying to earn a job, earn a spot. I mean, we already know Lamar's spot is solidified. And honestly, if you want to be if you want to be real, technically, this joint practice was a sort of a preseason game because he did get a lot of reps, he did get a lot of snaps. So it wasn't like they were just playing a 7-on-7. He was actually, they were live. So
yeah, here's a great question from Sancho Mack. Who's going to have a better career with the Ravens? Brandon Stevens, Odafe Oweh, or Rashad Bateman?
Sancho, I don't want to answer this question. Leave me alone, man.
I got an answer. I think Rashad Bateman is going to be an absolute stud for the Ravens. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's going to be very good. But I think Odafe Oweh is going to be that next guy. You think about Ravens history, there's been some great offensive players. Jamal Lewis. I mean, that's kind of it. Not a lot. Jamal, Mark Clayton. A lot of, there are guys. But overall, we remember the defense. I think the Odafe Oweh, Marlon Humphrey, Patrick Queen trio is the next Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, Terrell Suggs. That's what the Ravens are going to be known for. That crazy defense with the great pass rusher, the field general middle linebacker, and the top tier secondary piece. I just think that that's how it's going to go. I love it. I think his potential is, as Michael Jordan once said, the ceiling is the roof. Okay. A sentence that makes absolutely zero sense, but I love it because Jordan said it. But I think it's Odafe just because his ceiling is that athleticism with what he's already showing that he can do, which is use that athleticism to his benefit.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be absolutely crazy. So even though I think Bateman will be a multi-time Pro Bowler with the Ravens, I fully expect him to be amazing, but Odafe is going to be a beast.
Honestly, I would in the order how I'm seeing it, I'm seeing Odafe, Stevens, and Bateman. Just to piggyback on that, what is Ravens known for all these years? Defense. I'm not going to say Stevens is going to be the next coming of Ed Reed, but you're talking about two young men that has the ability to learn, that wants to learn, that loves to grow, and they love to get their reps in. Just the strength of Stevens wanting to take the I wouldn't say risk, the chance to prove it to himself that he can play on the defensive side of the ball and make it to the NFL. He already made it. He already made one hurdle. I mean, and then getting picked in the third round as well. On top of that, that's two. You already proven yourself playing one season as DB for SMU, and you get picked in the third round. That speaks a lot of volumes. That shows that the Ravens have a lot of trust in this young man. And then when you get into the facility, they want to transition him over to the safety position. And he has shown that he can tackle. He's shown that he can, fill the hole. He showed he can blitz, and he shows he can break up passes. So I actually do like that. I would say, with bringing in Justin Houston, that's Odafe said it. That's it. That's his Yoda. Just imagine if Odafe was here with Terrell Suggs or Elmas Dumerville. It will be even a spookier sight the season, the next season for him, being behind those type of guys. So being behind Justin Houston, he's only going to get better over time. And then Bateman, I feel like Bateman is going to take Lamar Jackson's career even farther. They're going to feed off each other. So as far as Lamar goes, Bateman goes. And I feel like, I don't know if Greg Roman's gonna start dialing up these special pass plays, or even if we change offensive coordinator. But I feel like over time this playbook will be unlocked, and over time, Lamar is going to keep on stacking up those numbers in the passing game, and Rashad is going to be his Michael Thomas, in my opinion.
I'm going to add a player into the mix. Quickly answer. Stevens, Odafe, Bateman, or Big Sexy Ben Cleveland?
All of them, you're calling 4 Pro Bowlers. I really can't see one having a better season than the other. I really just see 4 Pro Bowlers.
All right. I think that's fair. Um, Here's an interesting one from Raven Ron. Who should be the regular season outside linebacker starting duo? Bowser McPhee, Houston, Bowser. Oh, I'm sorry. Out of Bowser McPhee, Houston, away. And I guess we can throw Dalen Hayes in there as well. But what do you think? What's the duo?
I say Bowser and Justin Houston.
Okay. I think that makes the most sense. For me, I think the duo we'll be seeing the most will be Bowser and away. However, third down situations, I think Houston comes in and he's that specialist pass rusher. So, on the depth chart, I think it'll be Bowser and Houston. But I think what the eyes tell us on the field, it'll be away and Bowser. And we'll see a bit of Dalen Hayes as Bowser's backup at the Sam linebacker spot. But, overall, it should be very interesting to watch. It's going to be a really good linebacking core, which is
Absolutely
something that's, kind of new in recent years. We have not had terrific linebackers. But here's a great question from Jeremiah. How do we win tonight? Offense or defense? Last week it was defense. All defense.
If we don't throw J.C. Hornway possibly and our offensive line play, I'm gonna say offense. I feel like our running back's gonna have a big night, and Tyler Huntley is definitely gonna show why he deserves to be the number 2 quarterback.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go offense as well. I just think that this is going to be the game where the Ravens go, okay, last week we weren't able to get a lot of analysis because we struggled offensively. Now they're like, we got to push it into overdrive and really try and see what this offense is all about, because they really didn't get to see the early wide receivers. They didn't get to see a lot of Trace McSorley because they just didn't give them the opportunity. I think they will give those guys an opportunity. And to answer Benjamin's question, I think Tyler Huntley will throw a touchdown pass tonight. So
I think we get 2 out of him.
2 touchdowns first half?
Yeah.
I think that's possible. I think we get 2 touchdowns with him on the field. I don't know if they'll both be him. I think we may have a running back touchdown or something like that we get to see. But Jerry B asks, does Tylan Wallace get it going in this game? And then Sancho Max says Wallace 5 catches, 85 yards, 2 touchdowns. I think Wallace does get it going. I think that they actually give him opportunities this game, and I think we'll really get to see what's popping really with him, because he is fun to watch when he gets the ball thrown in the air near him, because he's going to come down with it.
He definitely needs it on the NFL level. I mean, we know what he done in college, but I feel like he definitely deserves to get that play time.
Absolutely. Kevin Zeitler. I was like, who's Kevin? I was thinking about defensive players. Kevin Zeitler. So who will be the better addition this season? Justin Houston or Kevin Zeitler?
I feel like it might be Kevin.
You think it's Kevin?
I feel like we missed that. I'm gonna put it like this. On both sides of the ball, we missed that senior presence, that real veteran presence that set the tone on offense and defense, on the defensive side of the line. But when it came to offensive line, when Marshall Yonder was gone, he was one of the smartest guys on the offensive line. I wouldn't say it was a shit show, but it wasn't the best show to watch. I feel like, Kevin Zeitler definitely understands what it means to be that veteran guy and what it means to, be a Raven, and being a Raven on that offensive line and protect that special guy behind you, the playmaker, Lamar Jackson. So I definitely feel like, Zeitler is the better addition.
Yeah, I think individually, I think it'll be Zeitler. However, I think Houston's impact on away this season will be felt more than Zeitler's impact on the offensive line. So I'm going to go Houston overall, but Zeitler individually, I think will just be a stud, and will be better than Justin Houston individually. But I think Houston's impact on away, and Dalen, and even Jalen Ferguson, and even Tyus Bowser, I think that'll be seen very clearly in their progression as the season gets going. I expect them to get significantly better throughout the year. Raven Ron's asking some great questions today. Shout out to Raven Ron.
Absolutely.
Who will be better, Tylan Wallace rookie year or last year Devin Duvernay? I think it's Tylan Wallace, because I think he'll get more opportunities. With the Ravens' injuries at wide receiver, and the new guys and Key and Teeth, I don't think he'll be used like Dev was in terms of, oh, he's just a trick play type of guy. Here,
Right.
put him in. It's a jet sweep. I think they'll actually use him when he comes in as a true wide receiver. They may give him a couple of shots to go up and really just, pretend he's going against Anthony Averett and just moss some dude. Like overall, I really love Tylan Wallace. I think he'll be pretty solid this year, and he may not get a ton of opportunities, but I think when he gets those opportunities, it'll really count. It'll definitely count for the Ravens, and it'll be big time plays. So that'll be my answer. Who do you think?
I definitely say Tylan Wallace for the simple fact, we drafted him to be a wide receiver. I'm not going to say number one wide receiver, but someone that's definitely a pass catcher, someone that to get the yardage at the catch, someone that can create separation and actually be a true wide receiver. Unfortunately, they made Dev I'm not going to say they made him, but they definitely used him as a gadget guy and also on special teams. I feel like if Dev keep on stacking up his days with kick return and punt return, and get a couple touchdowns here and there, he's definitely going to bring that electric energy onto the field for us. But I definitely feel like Tylan Wallace is going to be that guy that's going to have a better rookie year.
Yeah, and something I just tried. This is the first time I've ever tried this. I've tried to do a poll in the chat. So hopefully you guys can see it, but I put the question. I think this is actually really cool, and we can definitely do this
Yeah, it's there.
A little bit more. I didn't know it was there. I pulled up the stream because I wanted to see if there's anything different I could do while streaming. So yeah, so you guys answer that. We'll see. We'll come back to it in a little bit. But yeah, so overall, that's fun. I did not know that was a feature. I was just like, oh, what are these features? Oh, there's also like custom emojis. Man, I get more in tune with this YouTube streaming thing. There's some cool stuff we can do. But while people are answering, let's look at this question. Do you think Nate Mccrary will outperform Tyson Williams this game?
It's a possibility. I mean, I definitely know McConnell and myself are both hoping for that. Just so so he can solidify his spot and really make a run. Williams has been doing his thing ever since, game one, and has been translating over to the practice. He's been getting a lot of praise. He's definitely been showing that he can be a running back in this NFL. But, I know I am personally. I'm rooting for Mccrary to outperform Williams.
Absolutely. I do expect that Nate Mccrary will be seen later in the game, and that'll help him. But I really think he will outperform him. I see a funny comment from Benjamin. Benjamin says between Graven Vids and TTV, the Ravens don't even need reporters anymore.
You got that right. Man, shout out to all the other guys out here, doing the Ravens report as well, man. I love what everybody's doing. I love how we all come together, I would say we got some of the best fans out here, man.
Oh, absolutely. Shout out to the Flock Block. What's going on, man? Welcome to the stream. If you guys don't, go sub to the Flock Block. Does some really good content over there. But what do you see from the inside linebackers this season? Who among the group needs to step up? That's a good question. For me, I really just want to see controlled chaos. That would be the description, okay? Patrick Queen last year was pure chaos, okay? This year, I want to see it. Yeah, he's covering, but all of a sudden, that ball gets thrown, and he is wreaking havoc. Someone runs up the middle. I want to see him bully the left guard, bully the right guard, just push people back. Same with Malik Harrison. Controlled chaos is what I'm looking for. And I think the biggest jump I would want to see would be from Patrick Queen, just in finding that control so that he doesn't go too wild, because he's been known to get a little bit too crazy, get out of position, and then, kind of hurts the Ravens a little bit. But I fully expect him to make that jump. So it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. But controlled chaos is my description of what I want to see out of the Ravens linebackers. What about you, Joshua?
I mean, yeah, we already covered it. I mean, honestly, even when they said Malik Harrison or LJ, honestly, the same thing. I mean, we talked about it. At the end of the day, yes, PQ, number one guy. He's a sexier pick. We totally get that. But you feel me? His running mate is going to be Malik Harrison. We want to see these guys getting to the ball, flying to the ball. Being those generals on the field. Yeah, man, come on, man, smash those likes. But most definitely, just continue what y'all do best. Get knocking those guys on their back. Wrapping up those tackles and forcing those turnovers and really being those generals on the field. I mean, I love that Chuck Clark has the green dot, but at the same time, in my opinion, those green dots on the helmet belong to those linebackers, especially those middle linebackers too. We've seen it with Ray Lewis, we've seen it with C.J. Mosley, so I feel like it should be passed on to either PQ or Malik Harrison. So I want to see their level of coaching on the field and getting their guys in the right place at the right time and being there as well. Translate over to the field.
Yeah. And, overall, so the poll did end. Talon Wallace won the poll. If you guys did see it in the chat, 64% it was. So that's interesting to see. I'm glad that you guys are very high on him. I see Don C's heading out. See you later, Don C. Good luck watching the game. Hopefully, maybe we see you after the game. But this is a great question. Actually, hold on. First off, Raven Ron says, great job the other night on the Ravens Roundtable. That was a lot of fun. If you guys didn't go check that out, absolutely do so. That was a lot of fun. But here's the question. Let's get back to the question. If Patrick Queen plays to his full potential, who would you say he's most comparable to in NFL history? At first, I didn't see the history. I was thinking current NFL. And current NFL, I was gonna say like a Michael Kendricks or Eric Kendricks, not Michael Kendricks. Eric Kendricks much better than Michael Kendricks. Eric Kendricks would have been my answer, but in NFL history, that's a tough one. That is a very tough question. I don't know. Who do you think, Joshua?
I would say Patrick Willis.
Patrick Willis? Okay. I like that one.
He was a high intensity guy. He definitely knew how to fire around the ball. He gave a lot of energy. He was just he was close to Ray Lewis, but wasn't Ray Lewis. They definitely respected each other. So I definitely say, PQ, he has some leadership. He has to show that leadership ability to be compared to Ray Lewis. Right now, I feel like he will be more comparable to Patrick Willis right now.
Patrick Willis, I like it. Sancho says Sam Mills, which I also like. Sam Mills, legendary player. Man, there's a lot of guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would love to say like Junior Seau. I think he's a little bit faster than Junior, but there's a lot of good ones that we could go with. But the guy I'm going to go with, Mike Singletary.
Ooh.
I'm going to say that's the guy historically that I would compare his game the most to. Funny enough, Ray Lewis's old linebacker coach. So, and one of the greatest linebackers of all time, Mike Singletary. So that would be like the uber top tier. But obviously it'd be more of a, modern day Mike Singletary. So, but I think that would be the best comparison that I can make historically off the top of my head. I haven't watched an absurd amount of Mike Singletary tape or anything like that, but from what I have seen, that would be the top tier guy that I could go with. But I would love to be able to say Ray Lewis. Don't really see the Ray Lewis kind of similarities. It's a bit different. Ray Lewis was the run stuffer, the heavy hitter. Patrick Queen is more in that coverage and gap shooter, which is a bit different, but don't have to be Ray Lewis to be a great linebacker. You have to be Ray Lewis to be the best linebacker, but that's okay. Let's see.
I think Sancho Matt talking about London Fletcher.
London Fletcher was a very underrated linebacker.
He was solid.
Like just really solid for a long period of time. Another guy, just really solid is just like a Luke Kuechly. Those type of guys. I think he's a bit different than Kuechly. Kuechly was a little bit more coverage, I would say. Yeah. But Luke Kuechly, definitely a guy to look at. That's true.
I haven't seen PQ. He hasn't cut enough INTs yet.
Yeah, we gotta get him to step it up. It's just overall, we just got to see that. We got to see him step up. We only got about 5 more minutes until this game's going to start, so we can only do a couple more questions that you guys have, and then if you guys didn't know, we will be streaming right after the game ends. We will hop back on, and we will analyze all this stuff. It was a ton of fun last time. Last time we went for an absurd amount of time. We don't have any time limit on how long we can go, so we'll go until y'all stop asking questions or we get too tired to continue. And last week we got pretty tired after about 3 hours, but it was a ton of fun. So, you guys have any more questions? We got about 5 minutes left in the stream, so make sure to ask them. We'll talk about them. Doesn't really have to be related to the game if you don't have any questions related to that, but we shall see. We'll see you later, Ron. Should be a lot of fun. Hopefully, we get to celebrate the 19th consecutive win, the NFL record tying 19 consecutive win, tying one of the greatest coaches of all time, Vince Lombardi. A lot of stuff that we can celebrate. Or if we lose, it's like doesn't really matter. So, that doesn't matter. How good do you think Harrison can be? Now, if we wanted to compare a guy to Ray Lewis, this is the guy to do it.
That's my guy. I mean, I'm gonna be real about it. Anytime when Ray Lewis and Eddie George went at it, it reminded me when Malik Harrison stuffed Derrick Henry. It reminded me of Ray Lewis and Eddie George. Malik Harrison really is not scared to go head up with anybody. I think it was last week he actually knocked down one of the right guards just off of principle with his shoulder. I mean, if with y'all being Ravens fans, y'all remember what Ray Lewis used to do? He used to take on fullbacks for a living. When I played football, I used to love that. If y'all from Baltimore, y'all know about Baltimore Lutheran. Their running back was their middle linebacker, and we played a playoff. It was a playoff game, and I told him where we was going, on what down, and on everything, and we literally had a field day. I mean, he knocked me out, I knocked him out. But you want that you want that in your middle linebacker. You want someone that's going to keep on fighting. You want someone that's going to keep on stuff in the hole. You want someone that's not scared and that's relentless. And honestly, Malik Harrison is that. So.
Yeah, I love Malik. And I see some people saying like guys are in pads. The Ravens like to dress as many people as possible in pads just to get the game day repetitions, the pregame warm-ups, all that stuff. They try and get out as much as possible, get that repetition down. But that does not indicate Lamar was dressed last week. Like he was in full pads and stuff like that. So I don't expect to see like Brandon Williams and stuff like that, out there. I don't think James Harrison's a great comparison. I see Steve say just because James Harrison was an outside linebacker, he was a pass rushing monster.
Lamar Woodley.
Okay. Lamar Woodley, that could be more, but I'm not trying to see no Steelers though, on our team, Maybe if we could get a Jack Lambert or something like that, one of the greatest linebackers ever.
Or even Bart Scott.
Bart Scott.
Now Ravens fans, y'all answer this. Do you all think PQ and Malik Harrison will match up to the Ray Lewis and Bart Scott duo? I think they might succeed.
It's tough just because Ray Lewis was so good. I think they're a better combo than those guys, but Ray Lewis is just amazing. And like he just like made whoever played next to him just way better. But that's interesting. That's a good question.
Those two feed off each other energy.
Yeah, and overall that's the type of stuff that we got to look at. But I'm trying to see. I haven't seen anything on people starting or anything like that. But if you guys don't, make sure to check out on Twitter. We tweet and stuff like that during the games and stuff. But that is going to. I think that's going to do it for the pregame stream. Make sure to come back after the game. We're going to have a lot of fun after the game, analyzing all that stuff. So think about players that you want us to watch. Think about, matchups that you want us to watch. We're going to talk about all that stuff. But thank you, everybody, for joining in. If you're not subscribed already, if you haven't hit the like button, please make sure to do so. And we will see all of you again in a couple hours when the game is over.